Tansy?
I had asked Roberta if I could speak, but I wanted to speak not in the beginning, but in the midst of everyone else testifying. So if
Okay, that message did not get from the representative. If not, I would have had you before the committee earlier. I didn't have your name on any list, and no one told me that.
may I testify now?
Absolutely. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you, I appreciate that. My specific was, I didn't want to go necessarily in the beginning. I wanted to kind of have the opportunity to address any issues that may have come up in the interim, so this is actually absolutely perfect, thank you. And I want to thank the committee. There really has been a great hearing. It's been a very thoughtful process, there were great questions asked, good discussion, and I want to thank you. This is really what the goals of the Reform Caucus have been. To change the committee process, to make it so that people are heard, bills are deliberated, given a true opportunity for a hearing with public input. And I'm so glad that there were so many people who came out to speak today. Someone before me had mentioned that they had expected to see maybe a dozen people here today. And in fact, there were dozens of people who came out and took their time to testify. And I'm so grateful to all of those who took the time to educate themselves on the arcane rules and to become impassioned about them. It's inspiring and refreshing. And I also want to point out that no one has testified in favor of these changes. So we can end cynicism that we've heard so much about over the evening by enacting some of the proposals that people have brought to you. And you will have the opportunity to do that. I trust that the deliberation will happen, that further study will be had, and that you will all come to some new conclusions based on the testimony that you've heard. And I look forward to seeing what those proposals are. A couple of things that I would like to add to the Reform Caucus's proposals and others that have come through the Republicans over the years. The 2-year time frame was discussed a little bit earlier, but there was one point that I think is incredibly important to understand that is behind the proposal. Year 1, this is exactly what we're doing, right? We are having new people in the building, we're getting new committee assignments, we're introducing new pieces of legislation, and all of that takes time. So it's reasonable that the committee process doesn't really get rolling until February, March. But we have all of these perennial bills that we hear year after year. So by year 2, we have people who are freshmen, maybe they're now sophomores. They understand what's going on. They don't need the time. They have their committee assignments already because they've been here for 2 years. This would just give us the ability to end the redundancy of hearing bills in the same term twice, and it would free up tons of time to engage in a thoughtful committee process like we've had here tonight, to be deliberative, to have public input on 1 or 2 or 3 bills as opposed to having, gun night where we're force-fed 20 bills all at one time, where the public is forced to speak broadly on bills instead of specifically like we've been able to do here tonight. So I think that's an important thing to keep in mind because it will make the committees more effective, and I think that's important. Representative Newberry, I apologize, we were having some technical issues in the other room. I didn't quite hear. You had some proposal about if 1/3 of the members of a committee vote for 48 hours, then for a need for 24 hours or more to have before a bill is voted on, that would be a bar, that would be reasonable. While it's wonderful that we want the opinions of the reps that are in that room, it's just as important that the people who are the public and who are the advocates and who are the experts have an opportunity to review that bill as well. And so while I understand where you were coming from with that, because we don't want to gum things up, but most importantly, we are here to represent our constituents. So we want that small d democracy to be unleashed. And I think that by allowing those 24 hours really is important not only for the members to read it, but also for the public to understand, digest, and for us to further study issues and make really good proposals. Because as part of the 250 bills that was just discussed, a lot of them are Senate dupes, but many of them are also the same bill that we vote on 2 and 3 and 4 times in a day because we haven't done our due diligence, because we haven't had an opportunity to fully think things through and to vet them. And that's our job. We're making laws. And I think this little bit of additional 24 hours would allow us to not have to vote on bills 2, 3, and even 4 times every once in a while.
If you could stop wrapping up, please.
Well, I will go then to the sexual harassment, which was really the most important piece that I was here to speak about tonight.
Just so you know, without being very lenient, you're well over 5 minutes.
I do appreciate that, I really do, and I think that these are really important issues, but I will try my best to keep things brief. I do have testimony here from the National Women's Law Center, and I will hand that into the committee so that you can peruse it. And I just want to start by saying that the section on sexual harassment has no place in the rules. I can't be any clearer about that. It has no place in these rules. It needs a full vetting and a public vetting. And the commission that I chaired, or something like it, would be the best place for it. Because right now, it feels like it is being forced quickly into the rules to avoid a comprehensive public and expert testimony and input. As chair of the commission studying sexual harassment, I was told that the 5 weeks that my commission had put into it was not enough time. 5 weeks of public input and testimony and deliberation, public deliberation, we were told there was not enough time. Yet these rules, and this proposal in particular, will probably pass in fewer than 5 days. So now to go specifically to the bill, we have, would you like me to, are you cutting me off? Is that what you're saying, Chairman?
I'm not cutting you off.
Okay, I
But
appreciate
I would
that.
like things to be answered later if possible. I am not cutting you off.
I appreciate that, thank you. There are no definitions in this. It's far too vague, and it has very large holes as to what is included. All persons involved in the business of the house, I'm not sure what that means. And I haven't heard anybody from the committee asking any specific questions. So if you do have answers to that, I think it's important to know those things before you vote on them. The work of the house, again, undefined. Why do we need an Office of Compliance to begin with? We already have entire bodies that exist to deal with these things. One is, in lieu of the Office of Compliance, we have the Commission on Human Rights. And I personally think that the General Assembly should avail themselves of that. This Committee on Conduct, why would we not use the Ethics Commission? They're trained full-time, and they could very easily take on any issues that are brought up. So the next piece of this is the non-disclosure agreement. And interestingly, this is in directly counter to what the committee that I chaired proposed. Having people be forced into a non-disclosure agreement is really the last thing that is necessary for victims and even for people who are the perpetrators. And it's counter to everything that the experts testify on. And this is all included in the National Women's and expounded upon in the National Women's Law Center testimony. I do have to say, I'm glad that there is an expulsion provision. I know the Senate has one, and I think it's important that we too have an expulsion provision because one never knows when one might need it, but I think it's an important piece. So that is the one and only thing that I would actually save from these new rule proposals. And I would also add that the proposal to have this Office of Compliance was spoken to with a touch more specificity by the speaker in a radio interview, and he said that he wanted a place where these things would be dealt with that were free of politics. Well, I don't believe that the JCLS is actually free of politics, And I think you can look at a story that Ted Nisi and WPRI put out today to just see that case in point. So that puts a big exclamation point on that. And when it comes to the specifics as to what's covered under this, the proposal before us refers to Title VII in the Civil Rights Act. And it covers all forms of discrimination, but only sexual harassment is specifically referenced. And so that is something that's important for us to be able to make certain that all things under Title VII are in fact covered by this. And then when it comes to how things are done and best practices, which the House, this proposal I think flies in the face of many of them. There is a 3-page position paper by the National Women's Law Center that goes into great detail. I will only say that there should be multiple, I'll just do this one, there should be multiple points of reporting, and having one person in charge of the entire process is really not ideal. In fact, many people may have a specific issue with that one person and may need to find it objectionable to have to go to that one individual for whatever reason that may be. And I will add it, I will say just one other thing with regard to the new committee that is being recommended. My question, one of many questions, is simply the Committee on Conduct, I believe it's called. Yes, the Committee on Conduct. Will they be getting additional training? Because these are very difficult decisions that will be made, and committee chairs should also be getting additional training. But this Committee on Conduct should absolutely be responsible for receiving additional training.
Thank you, Representative Tansey. Any questions of the representative? Representative Williams.
Representative Tansey, on your committee, approximately how many people in the public attended those meetings in the 5 weeks? And do you have a sign-in sheet of those attendants that attended and participated?
I don't have a sign-in sheet because there wasn't one made available. They were hearings and there was not public testimony. The place for public testimony was during the bill proposals. So the commission was tasked with reviewing literature and best practices from across the nation. We invited a number of regional and national experts to come in and provide their testimony. And then we deliberated and we created a package of bills which were then heard in a public testimony in the House Labor Committee.
So you're saying that you wasn't allowed to keep a log of who was present, at least to have some type of reference or record of individuals that you said attended and participated to in the 5 weeks of the committee?
No, there's never been a place where anyone who attended a committee has had to sign in.
No. So I'm asking you, if you're saying it wasn't provided with it, I would say.
I didn't say I wasn't provided. I said that there's never been a mechanism in the General Assembly to have someone sign in to enter a hearing room. There was no public testimony. The public testimony was given during the committee hearings, so the committees, when the bills were heard.
Okay.